Hi, I'm Robert Thiemann. I'm the founder and director of Frame. Today, we'll be discussing the reinvention of the workplace, because that is what is actually happening today. We've gone through a period of 2 years in which we were confined to the home space. Now, many countries, if not all of the countries around the globe, are reopening their offices again. Workers are returning to the workplace that they used to be working in, but there's been a drastic change. It's actually not happening that workers are returning altogether. Roughly 2/3 of all people indicate that they rather divide their work time between the office, home, and third places like co-working spaces, airports, or bars and restaurants. So what does this mean for the future of the workplace? How can we make the workplace a space of well-being and wellness? Let me introduce to you the panel that we will be discussing this subject with. First, Alexander Fehre. He's the founder and CEO of Studio Alexander Fehre, based in Stuttgart, Germany. Emma Holt, she's the Associate Director of Ben Adams Architects, based in London. And Alberto Martínez, he's the Central Europe Area Manager of Andreu World, a company that is based in Valencia. And here they are. Hello, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Hi, very good, thank you.
Alberto, I believe you're not in Valencia today. Please tell us where you are.
I'm sitting in Hanau. This is a city like 20, 30 kilometers from Frankfurt. We opened a showroom in summer, and this is now my workspace. It is my workspace today, but tomorrow it could be a flight, could be a train, could be a hotel room. But I think this is the new future that we are talking about.
And we're actually organizing this panel together with Andreu World. And the reason for that is that Andreu World has just published a book that is called Work Well Seated. Mm-hmm. And that is exploring the topic that we are discussing today by interviewing all kinds of editors of interior design magazines around the world, and showcasing, I think, 50 workplaces for the likes of Google and YouTube and Amazon and many other leading companies, indicating what the workplace could look like. So, Alberto, do you have the book? Can you show it?
We have the question, how will be the office in the future look like? And we don't know. And we can say anything, but actually, if we have a look to the offices 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and how they dramatically changed, and no one was thinking about COVID because we never know about that. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. But what we can do is to try to analyze what we did in the last years. And that is what we made in this book, where we select 50 workplaces around the world. And in fact, there are quite different projects. 50, as you say, there are Amazon, there's AstraZeneca, there's CaixaBank, a very important bank in Spain, McDonald's, headquartered in Chicago, the Google, Uber, YouTube, so the technological companies. And we try to analyze why they choose this design and why, according to the company corporate culture and philosophy, they choose this, they design. And it's very interesting. And in fact, there are also the opinion of leading magazines. Of course, Frame is also present in the book. A good opportunity to share this community design overview of what's going to happen. As I said, we never know, but at least we can expect what will happen in the future.
So let's go to the first question that we asked you beforehand, and we asked you to reply showing an image that represents your answer. So please introduce yourself briefly and show us an image of your workspace, Alexander.
Yes, thank you. I'm Alexander Fehre. I run a small office in Stuttgart, Germany. We are working with every size of offices, from small ones, which are also a bit hybrid right now, to very large ones as well. And we also do private residential interior.
So now let's have a look at your workspace then.
It's meant to be a fun picture. What's the serious point? Even one person can have different facets of work during a day, and this needs to be reflected in the office interior. And this is a simple conclusion we discover in every project, that it's all about a heterogeneous type of workspace. And this picture shows that maybe this is not working very good in one room for the whole day. And now we are talking also about hybrid work, remote work, and these are interesting things to look at as well.
Thanks, Alexander. Emma, let's have a look at your workspace, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Emma. I've been at Ben Adams Architects for almost 10 years now. So we work on a variety of projects. We started out in 2010 doing office refurbishments, and then we've expanded from then, still doing office refurbishments, but also new builds and residential, a variety of projects. And the themes that we come across apply to today's talk. So our workspace, we're based in London, really close to the Tate Modern Art Gallery, and we're in a grade 2-star listed building. It used to be a metal testing works, and there is actually still the machinery from the works in a museum at the ground floor, and we're on the upper floors, and some of the original features still exist in the building. So the industrial style columns here are exposed, and the timber beams, and then we have some cabinets, glass cabinets. You can't see them in this image, but they housed some of the equipment that they used for the metal testing. So this is just a snapshot of part of the office. We have a few floors, and they are full or empty or somewhere in between on different days. So it's kind of unpredictable at the moment. I mean, we try to have some kind of routine in terms of people working from home and being in the office, but then there's also flexibility for the individual depending on their circumstances. So, and we also have train strikes at the moment in London, so there's a lot of people working from home. So it's actually quite useful to be able to work from home on days like this.
What do you prefer, working from home or working from the office?
Personally, well, it's about practicality as well as what I like. So in terms of productivity, I find that if I come into the office, I get more done because I can physically talk to people, and especially in something like architecture, which is very, very visual, then just being able to point at drawings or a screen is much easier than having to explain it over a call or a Zoom call. You can annotate on Zoom, so it's all perfectly possible. But just, yeah, I find I'm more productive if I come in, but it's also good to have that flexibility for personal life commitments as well. So, yeah.
Thanks, Emma. Alberto, you've done your introduction quite properly, I'd say, but I think you will be showing here another image, or is that the space that you're actually in?
Exactly. This is my new home. I came here 3 months ago. This is very interesting because it's an old military base, which was transformed into co-working spaces, and we convert them. This is also an interesting design concept because it's made from the city to offer workspaces to everyone, so you can come here with your children and rent a desk for a day, for a week, for a year, if you want. And there are specific areas where you can have your offices. So we decided to support this project in Pioneer Park, which is the name of this area. We are very happy. So this is my new workspace. This is basically what I do here. It's for Andreu World, and I've been working in the company for 4 years. And we try to understand the market, the design community, architects or interior designers, to understand the demands in order to provide health and durable designs focus on user and comfortability and the functionality.
So Alberto, this image that you show in the space that you're currently in, is it actually a workspace or is it a showroom or is it both?
It's both. So we decide we have our own showroom here. That's this room, but there are like 5 floors, so you can have different workspaces, as I say, on a daily basis, on monthly basis. So this is this kind of hybrid uses or hybrid proposals where you can find anything. You can work from there is a coffee station downstairs, so you can work taking a coffee. You can make phone calls in a private room. So there is a kind of flexibility and variety of uses, which I think it's a reflex of what today an office should be like.
Great. So now we know who you are and how you work, where you work. Let's go to the first really serious question. The way we work has changed. So hybrid is seen as the new normal. So how does this impact the purpose of the office? Is it still as it was prior to all of the lockdowns, or does the office have a new role? And if so, what is that new role? Alexander.
So we talked about well-being at the office, and my point is that we can't only look at ergonomic questions and biological questions. I think it's in the next years to come, we need to think about inspirational offices, inspirational spaces, and also spaces which give a certain purpose where you work, identifying the place where you work, the company where you work. I think this will be very crucial, as it is right now already. For me also as a question how to get the office workers back to the office. I think we need to develop a thesis how offices will develop. And these pictures show one of our approaches to a very unusual office for Bräuninger, a large fashion store in Germany. They have some branches in Germany, also online shop. The branch we worked for was the content production, all the people who are doing the photos and texts for the online shop. So they're very young, very creative. And we try to develop a concept where the office is very specific for their needs. It was based in a large industrial hall with no daylight. And so we developed a theme which is like an overstyled fashion show, a fashion circus, and use the Bräuninger colors. And this is not the answer for the future, but this is one very specific answer to this project, to this client, and shows how far you can maybe go with an office, with a space for specific users. So it's this shows for me one possible future, which has the over theme of identification and inspiration.
So the office as a place for identification and inspiration. That is how you see part of the answer to what is the new role of the office.
Yes, especially if you think of employees working from home, from remote. And I think we still need spaces to relate, to identify with the company as well. And so I think maybe the spaces could be smaller in the future, but the density, identity, and the hybrid users will be much more complex in the future.
Emma, what's your view of that?
Yeah, so I think the well-being side of it is important, and also the social side of things. So in terms of getting people to come into the office, I think having an environment that's attractive, but also something that feels comfortable, somewhere you actually want to go to. And, this image is showing the daylight flooding into the space, and also having different areas that you can use. So different kinds of seating and furniture for different reasons, different purposes, a mixture, flexibility for people to use the space as they like. And we're also seeing a demand for sort of more domestic feel to offices. So as well as just having your standard tables and chairs, different areas where you can meet with people. I mean, also the office, actually going into the office rather than working from home, you create more chance encounters. So, those kind of water cooler moments, tea point moments that you don't get when you're working from home. I mean, you can do your job perfectly well over, via a laptop, but then you don't tend to have those chats that you where you get to know people better. And I think it's important in an office as well to have another connection with your peers and your colleagues on another level, not just a work level.
So you envision more importance for the social role of the office.
Yes.
The office is a social space to connect with others and to simply hang out and have a chance meeting with somebody.
Yeah, and then that helps to promote productivity as well. So if you're more comfortable with your colleagues and clients, the people that you meet, if you see them in person, then you have a bit of a conversation about other things that you probably wouldn't over Zoom or Teams. So I think having that kind of environment really helps people gel together and create a community that then also feeds into your work.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Alberto?
I really think that this is a new role. In the past, the office used to be a building, and we went to the building, and because we should. Then we closed the offices during the pandemic, and then we had to work remotely, and surprisingly, the productivity was the same or even higher in some cases. So now when we come back to the office, the employees need to be engaged, to have a good reason to come to the office. In fact, I think it's not even motivator factor, it's even a hygienic factor. When it is not there, you are creating dissatisfaction. If you don't have a healthy and comfortable workspace, it's creating a problem in employees nowadays, and it should be like this in the future. So I think it's a fundamental change, and I agree with Alexander and Emma that this is a social environment. At the end, you need the office is our workspaces today. It's about a place where you share information. If you are there or if you are working remote, you need to connect with the people that are there. So it should be something that enable this kind of hybrid work.
Great, thanks. So now we've explored the new role of the office. It's actually perhaps not new, but there's a stronger emphasis on identification, inspiration, and the social part of work, and perhaps less on productivity as it used to be. So that leads us to the next question. So if we talk about a new role for the workplace, how does it impact its design? Back to you, Alexander.
I think it impacts the design a lot. The pictures show the same project as before. Especially in this project, we tried to take a step back from the typical design answers you could think in an office. We tried to look at it as a erased space with no given answers inside, and try to look at the users, what they are doing actually in there. So it was completely open to us if it's an office building, if it's a residential or retail project. And I think this step back needs to be done to be very open in the answer you will give in the function and also in the design to make a office of the future. Because then you can discover how hybrid it can be, how different it can be. It shouldn't be only different in the design. It always needs to serve a certain function for the, of course, for the users in the daily work, but also for the company, for the development of their products, their services. And I think this is very crucial to step back from the typical project, from the typical answers you would give, and open yourself up to new answers.
So a place for experimentation then.
Yes, because then you can come to these future answers which can serve for productivity as well. Because we saw the shift from simple tasks in the past for all office workers to now more creative work. In every part, simple tasks are taken over by algorithms, and this will go on in the future as well. So we need to make spaces for humans and not make humans work for machines.
Emma, what is your design change?
Yeah, so I think there is a big change, and I think buildings and interiors need to work a lot harder to attract tenants and employees. So this is a building in Shoreditch in East London, which we've actually just completed, but we don't quite have the photography yet. So we've got some of the renders. One of the big features in this building is the kitchens, which they have on every floor. So working with the client, they've identified the kitchen area as really being the hub of the office. So again, talking about that social side of offices, somewhere where you can speak to, gather together, communicate with your colleagues in a different way and relax, take a break. It's a kind of noisier space with bold colors, but then it also has a softer side to it, which is more domestic. So the soft furnishings and even the layout of the kitchen with the breakfast bar is quite domestic. And then the lighting, having up lighting as well as down lighting, creates a different kind of a feel. It's less commercial. It's not so corporate as things used to be. And then having artwork on the walls and planting, all of those things are becoming much more predominant in office spaces. And then we're also seeing different kinds of areas within the office. So not just the kitchen, but more of like a lounge area for meetings or collaboration. So it's the flexibility and not feeling like you're just always sitting at your desk all day long.
So, but also a little bit of the home is creeping into the office.
Yes, yeah, I think so, because people are now so used to having their home comforts. The office feels like such a contrast. And yeah, it's attracting people, helping to attract employees and have something there that they feel comfortable with. Thanks.
Alberto, how do you see the design of the workplace change?
I consider there are 3 points that has an impact on design. The first of them is the new uses, as already mentioned. The variety of spaces, more collaborative areas, the flexibility, also creative areas that need a connection to expand these creativity thoughts. This is clear, the new uses. The second is the new users. I'm thinking about the new generations, millennial or even the new generations. They don't want to work 8 hours sitting in the same place. And even if we force them to do that, we have to offer spaces that attract the talent, as Emma mentioned. So it's the design should be also considering the employees that we want to attract. It's completely a change that we never thought 10 or 20 years ago. And finally, for me, it's also interesting the dimension. And this is the challenge of that question. If a company has 100 employees, do they need to make an office for 100 employees? Because if only 20 employees are coming every day, they are going to feel alone. And again, this social point that we were talking about, that we are looking for in the design, if they are always with empty workspaces, with conference rooms which are dimensioned for 20 people, and there are only 2 persons working there, is that the right dimension? Should be only for 50%? This is the challenge, and I think this is a good question that in the design or concept phase, our colleagues, the architects, has to deal with, because it's not easy to answer the question.
What is your answer to that, Emma and Alexander? If you have 100 employees, do you need to design an office for all 100, or is 50 enough, or 30 or 70?
Yeah, it is a good question, because there is hot desking now, isn't there, where I have heard of companies where they don't have that number of, the same number of seating as they have employees. And yeah, I suppose it's, what happens if everybody wants to come to work one day? But I don't think that would ever happen. So, because the hybrid has become so normal. So I think there's always going to be somebody that would be at home. So yeah, I don't think you would have to max out your seating to match the number of employees. And also because, as I was saying, there's the variety of spaces that you can work in as well. So somebody might come in and not need to sit at their desk, but they could go and sit in more of a meeting area. So that flexibility is helping to ease the pressure.
Yeah, I think the same. I think the office desk gets much more unimportant. Everything is changing right now, but yeah, I think talking about numbers. In some projects, we are looking at shared desk principles, and then we talk about 30 people from 100. The area maybe can be smaller in the future, but the density, complexity of the spaces are getting more and more intense, and this is interesting for us as designers and interior architects.
Right, now let's move on to the wellness part of this discussion. That was a starting point, and the question for you is that now health and well-being are top priorities for the workforce. So how can workplace furniture support that well-being? So you've spoken about the office becoming more like the home, but also a place for identification and inspiration and many more things. So that means probably that there will be a lot more variation in the workplace. So what does that mean for the furniture that you need to put into that workplace?
There should be a brighter variety and different kinds of furniture in the office, in a project as well. I would always search for the answer of complete solution, not taking the furniture as one solution to make an office space. But of course, the seating furniture, in my design approach, they are in the end of the solution, but they are a crucial part. As we see in these pictures, we have different kinds of furniture built in here. Some seating is specifically built, and of course, other ones are typical products. And it's also a bit of a hybrid space because there are no typical work desk here. It's a place to meet, to interact with other colleagues, and to get production workers and office workers together in the large production hall here. Here we can see different kinds of furniture, some sofas as well as you would have in your home. This gives the right answer to the heterogenic office in the future as well.
Emma?
Yes, so I have an image to share which talks specifically about kind of more, it's got the appearance of a kind of traditional office space, but then the tables are sit down, stand up tables. So having that option to not necessarily sit down, but then also having that same word variety. So there's 3 different types of tables in this image, and each table is signifying a kind of different activity. And then the seating corresponds with those activities as well. So you have your kind of traditional chair on wheels that you can raise up and down for the desk-based work. But then on the right-hand side of the image, there's chairs without backs that you can move around more on, depending on the activity. You know, you're trying to explain yourself and present, probably want to move around a bit more in a more collaborative kind of scenario. So yeah, I think it is about having that flexibility for particular tasks and also individual requirements.
And Alberto, what would be your response?
In the book that we recently presented, there are 50 examples, quite different. We see the picture. This is one of them. This is a Rechtsbahn in Rotterdam. For me, there are 3 levels. The basic one is avoid toxic materials. Till today, and many furnitures can pollute the air. So they release particles to the environment. So this dangerous substance can be harmful for the employees. So in that case, this is a must that we should avoid. For example, we have Andreu World has an indoor air quality certificate that ensures that our products guarantee the healthy indoor environment, avoiding any kind of chemical emissions. The second level is ergonomy and comfort. We need to have to avoid any physical pain on employees, and it's going to contribute to more efficiency and even to mental health of our employees. And the third level, which is more creating happiness and also convert it into well-being and productivity is the sustainability. It's also a demand nowadays from the employees. They want to be in an environment where materials and also the products where they come from, they are interested in, where these products are, for example, manufactured from. So these three levels is avoiding toxic materials, ergonomy and comfort, and sustainability, for me are quite important on that topic.
That's a well-rounded reply, Alberto. Thank you. And the last question, what kind of company like Andreu World produces furniture for, well, basically the contract industry? So ranging from workplaces to the hospitality industry and maybe also to the home space, to in general create better workspaces.
As an architect, as I walked over the architect as well, I would always search for solutions where the furniture is part of the solution. I think it will be a bit more difficult in the future for every furniture company to answer that. But the aspects Alberto mentioned, sustainability, non-toxic materials, these will get more and more important, renewable materials and stuff. So I think this will be one main aspect to look at in the future as well.
Yeah, so I had sustainability noted down as well as a big part of it. So not just the materials of the actual furniture, but the process as well through which they're made. And then the flexibility of use, possibly customization in furniture. And also in a lot of our projects, the style of the furniture varies quite dramatically depending on the context of the furniture. So, somebody might want something quite retro to correspond with the area in which it is, where it's located, or it might be something much more minimal or industrial. So having that kind of variety and style as well as use is important to us.
Thanks, Emma. And what are the plans of Andreu World, Alberto?
Good questions. I think what our main task is to listen to the market and listen to the stakeholders, even to the design community. We have to act, not just talk about what we do, but to try to start, because this is a long way, but we need the first steps. In our case, as a global company, we have presence in more than 100 countries. We are getting insights from the different designs community, and of course, it's not the same in USA as in Asia or in Europe. And this is a kind of enrichment that we are having, these different points of view. As a best example is our Netherlands bio. I think it's here on the picture. We had ready to come to the market. And then after talking with Patricia Urquiola, we decided it was not the right product because we were using our common third polymer. So we decided to postpone the market launch and to look for a new material. And in that case, of course, this is a plan and this is costing money to the company if you have a plan and you want to produce one model and then you have to postpone it. But we decided to do that and look for something sustainable to be quite different in the market. And in that case, we found a biothermal polymer, which is coming from living microorganisms, and it's biodegradable and compostable. So something completely new. And I think this is our main task, not only in a single product, but as an attitude. So the philosophy of our company was to do that from the beginning with a reforested wood, and then we are keeping, and of course it's not finishing now. So for example, we were in summer certified with cradle to cradle, but still there is a lot to do. We reached the bronze level, so it means we still can be silver, we still can be gold. And I think this is the industrial manufacturer. Our main responsibility is to keep this attitude and continuous improvement and offering these solutions to the design community.
Sounds good. Listening, continuously improving, making furniture that is sustainable and that is offering comfort and ergonomic solutions to the market. So thank you very much, Emma, Alexander, and Alberto, for sharing your visions of the future of the workplace with a special eye on wellness. We won't get there overnight in this new work world, but we're making steps. And today you've told us that you think that the role of the workplace is changing and will continue to change from a place of, say, sheer productivity, as it always has been, to a place to socialize, to identify with an organization and to be inspired, to have meetings with friends, colleagues, and partners and clients, and to reach optimum wellness levels. We need to be using furniture that is offering a great choice of variation of style, ergonomics, comfort, well-being, and sustainability. Thank you very much. It was great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.